Hello friends and welcome back. Well, this is my very, very late day 3 offering for the Gratitude Challenge 2021. I did record this video on a number of occasions. Let's just say at least 4, believe it or not. I'm having a very, very busy week from a work perspective as well as a personal one. I have an elderly mother who has not been feeling very well at all, especially since New Year. And 2 hospital trips later, we've found out that she does actually have a blood disorder, and there are more tests to come. And obviously we'll be able to pinpoint exactly what is going on. But that has been, very taxing on my system. And just a lot of family stuff going on because of that. When your parents are elderly, like everyone does feel the concern, obviously. But it's just so interesting how it happens to come at a time where the job that I have, speaking of Temperance, it's my little muggle job on the side. It is actually officially a once a month commitment. But as of late, things have been so very busy. It's actually every day. And it involves property. And if you're organising a renovation, you can't just say, sorry, I'm not in the mood. So there are some challenges along the way with that particular job. It's all coming together, but you know what it's like. We all go through these little periods. But I just found it so very taxing on my system, and I think it's because I'm used to a very quiet January with my tarot work. It's just, I love how January is a gentle unfolding for me, and I spend a lot of time swimming in the sea and just getting my year together gently, which I truly appreciate. It works so well for me, for my nervous system, for my mind. And this year, as well as last year, completely the opposite. Very interesting. Oh, God. They say it always comes in threes. I hope it's not going to be this way next year also. So life is life. We have to just deal with it. But it's like I could feel the Temperance, the winged messenger from the Temperance calling out, reminding me of what's actually very important. It's just so fascinating how the cards are always there to give you the message that you need. Even if, like for this particular challenge, your main intention isn't to draw a card for this week, tell me what is going to happen. That was not my intention. But the cards are definitely working in a dualistic fashion. They are saying, listen, you really need to pay attention to the card itself for what it represents, for what may unfold. And you're welcome to dive in for the gratitude challenge while you're there. Like, it's just, I'm certainly not in control of this operation. The cards are. It's fascinating and it's very sweet. So as you can imagine, I did my very best to record this video, and I tried a few times at night, and that was just futile. I mean, why I even tried, I'll never know. And the lighting's a bit poor here for my camera. And so yesterday I decided to record it during the day, despite the busyness that was surrounding me. And I did, and I really enjoyed talking to you about it. And little did I know that my camera stopped recording just after 4 minutes. I mean, seriously, what is the message here? Other than give up, and I'm not going to give up. Once I start something, I like to complete it. So I just had to say that because I want to, first of all, show my gratitude to you. If you are still here, despite my late delivery, thank you so very much. I'm truly grateful to you. I really appreciate you watching. So first of all, I'll just touch briefly on this particular Temperance card, which is from the Puppet Theatre Tarot. And it's not the normal or the usual, should I say, scene that we are perhaps used to. But I really appreciate the message here. And you can see that the puppet is in deep meditation. And this card is actually called Abstinence. So what is required of the puppet is that very thing. And also moderation and stillness and calmness. And of course, no excess. And most importantly, no sudden movements. Because if she does, she runs the risk of knocking down the arrangement in front of her, the blocks made up in a pyramid-like shape. And those blocks represent parts of life, both this dimension and others, or the elements. The fragile balance of powers. So we have fire, earth, air, water, and ether, which is black. So obviously, if she is to find that inner balance, blend the opposing energies, to embrace new knowledge of life and new relationship with the world, she is required to remain still and calm. And you can see the hourglass swinging above her head, and she's not looking at it. Time, what's time? You just take the time that you need. And at the end of the day, by refraining from any harsh movements, actions, even thoughts, I would imagine, because it's so important to keep it calm, she will achieve this new relationship with herself and the world. What I might do is, just because I've still got the crystal visions close by, I might just pop this one here, because this is a scene that we are all quite familiar with. And it's a scene that really does ring true for me. And I remember reading in the, I think it's the Tarot for Yourself. I wrote in my journal years ago this one sentence about this card, which I love. And it's talking about, being healed. And as a lot of people look at this as a well-being card. But it says, tempering your life and finding the right combinations of things to make you well. I love that. So it's like about finding the right things, mixing the right ingredients and the right proportions, the right dosage, and blending them beautifully. And often we talk about bridging the two opposing energies, don't we? And my gratitude runs deep and wide for this card, and I'll explain. I see the two cups. What are they in this card? There's blue and red. That's quite traditional, isn't it? So you could say, oh, fire and water coming together. But really, it's energy. It's colourless, or it's white, whatever way you want to look at it. But the point is, it's just saying, looking at the two opposing, I hate using that word, energy all the time, but for want of a better term. But it's like, say, as an example, the conscious and the unconscious, the divine within with the animal nature. If you think of the sun and moon, then you think of how we make things happen and bridging that with how we allow things to happen. The light and the dark, all those incredible opposites that we are aware of. The yin and the yang, to quote a cliche. But out of that, considering that this card is ruled by Sagittarius, I think about when it is time to initiate something and when it is time to accept, to receive something in. Could even relate that to the Six of Pence in a way. So being Sagittarius, being a fire sign, it definitely is about taking action. But the key with this card to me is you move forward, you do initiate, or you do speak up, whatever the situation requires, but you make sure you do it with grace. And you remember that this is not a race. This is not a rush. That Sagittarius can tend to gallop forward, but that's the key here. We have the two cups, the winged messenger with the two cups, and she sits there with eyes closed, just like the puppet. Does she look like she's stressed? No. Does she look like she's in a mad rush? Mm-mm. Is she slamming those cups together? I mean, is this a scene from a long table at Oktoberfest? Absolutely not. So that's where you do see, in this case, to me, a blending. But I like to look at it as a bridging action. building the bridge from where I am to where I need to be. And I think that's what the puppet's doing. So she sits separate from the blocks, but internally, no. I think there's a blending occurring as she allows herself to sink deeper into the process. The winged messenger, the angel, looks so peaceful and calm. There are butterflies about, and besides the fact that butterflies are always associated with transformation, but to me they dance. There's that sense of fun and non-permanence. Things are always moving and changing. So it is a beautiful card in so many ways. Very important message, not to fight it, because again, this is about doing things calmly. Don't get uptight about it. Try and be flexible as best as you can. And that's why I feel in so many ways this card was speaking to me, because I was so run off my feet. I could feel my nervous system getting upset. I had to take time off work to get my mother to hospital and to help her out in a number of ways, whilst at the same time, this was the busiest part of this particular process with my job. It just went well into the night. How this job, oh dear God, it's taking over my world, how this card came up at this time. So, current circumstances aside, I love this card and I feel a very strong connection to this card, and I always have. And I think it's because in my natal chart, my astrological chart, I have Sun opposite Moon. So I'm sure already you can see what I'm saying. She's got the 2 cups. Building the bridge from where you are to where you think you should be or sense you should be. Bringing together what you have with what you desire. But most importantly, meeting in the middle and drawing in those 2 opposing energies and blending them calmly into one, but actively taking steps towards that. And if you have Sun opposite Moon, right, the masculine and the feminine, the conscious and the unconscious, if you have them opposite, it is a lifelong endeavor. You know, it is a commitment that must not be ignored, because you don't just do it once and go, oh, well, there you go, I'm set, because your natal chart is what it is. But it's something that you must always have, not even in the back of your mind. I think just always keep it in mind without forcing it, that when certain circumstances occur, you'll feel how, because the energy in the chart is oscillating, sun, moon, it's going back and forth. And so the more you are aware of those particular aspects, the more it springs to mind when circumstances crop up. Like this week, talk about one extreme to the other. My dear old mum, feeling very, very unwell and not understanding why she felt so unwell so rapidly. And we were all very concerned for her. To building construction, people ringing, tenants up in arms about things. Like, you could say that is so unimportant. But I can't, like I think the Temperance says you need to rise above the mundane, but I can't ignore it either, because it's a part of my job. But that's to me where Temperance comes in on a higher level also. So you've got all the quote-unquote stuff that's going on in your life, and then you have you. You need to balance out yourself so you are a better person to handle those situations. So there's another blending. Don't really like to say, it's not a balancing act, but it is a blending and a bridging action. But taking your time, closing your eyes and just moving forward gently with this process. So if you are absolutely enveloped by occurrences that are going on around you, the balance, or I've said it again, but the other side, the other cup involves you spending time with yourself and allowing yourself a moment to breathe. I could go on for hours about this because it does pertain to astrology, but I'll just say in the end, I see this card as a mentor. If this card could manifest into a human being, I'd be signing up very quickly. I am very, very grateful to this card, and I've been grateful, well, since the day I learned about tarot. when I got to this card, because I studied tarot and astrology and numerology simultaneously. So straight away I made that association. Oh my God, the two cups, the blending, the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, as I said, the divine and the animal, whatever. The above and below. And that just paralleled straight away for me, having sun opposite moon. So my gratitude to this card has been with me for a very long time and will never leave. So I'm rather pleased that I did draw this card, because it gave me an opportunity to share that information with you. And in times of trouble, when I get caught in my head, she reminds me just to relax and slow it down. I mean, look at no matter what card you go to, from whatever deck, I think majority of times you're going to be faced with a beautiful scene that just, you're not doing nothing, you're doing something. In fact, there's a hell of a lot going on, even for the puppet. Just because we can't see it on the exterior doesn't mean there's nothing happening. So for me, it's a timely reminder to allow what needs to happen internally right now to happen. Free yourself up to allow that blending once again. So I was talking about the oscillation with that opposition. Example, something tough is presented to me. Well, this week was a tough week. I could go straight to the moon and end up over emotional or feel like I am drowning in my emotions, so to speak. Just as an example, right? So Temperance, I can't thank you enough for your message. It's like you were written for me to remind me that this endeavor, this undertaking is absolutely essential, and it's ongoing. It's a lifelong experience. It's a lifelong journey that you hope by the end of your life you have managed to gently yet certainly harness those opposing energies well. And you don't only sense and feel and experience that blend, but you get to live it instead of living in a world of extremes, which can happen with sun opposite moon if you are not, if you choose not to pay attention, if you choose not to study self and take a path of awareness. So there's probably a whole lot more I could say, but I think this is way long enough. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, and I have to tell you something important here. I did draw my card on one of the videos that are long gone now, and I'm going to stick with it because, yeah, I did draw it in real time. Obviously, it was the first video that I recorded for the Temperance card, and that was from the Bonestone and Earthflesh, and it is the Hierophant card, and that happens to be my birth card. So I think I will use that for day 4. Anyway, all in all, I hope you will, and I'll see you soon.